I remember the exact smell of that morning, burnt coffee grounds, cheap baby shampoo, and the metallic tang of a lie I'd been swallowing for 15 years. It was 7:18 a.m. when the door shook in its frame like someone was trying to kick it off the hinges. I knew who it was before I even rolled off the couch. Only one person knocks like the world owes her rent. I opened the door and there she was, Mara, hair in a messy knot on top of her head, sunglasses the size of satellite dishes, 3 kids swirling around her legs like leaves in a storm. Behind her stood our mother, arms folded so tight her knuckles went white, lips pressed into that thin, familiar hyphen that always meant the verdict had already been decided. Mara didn't say hello. She never does anymore. Change of plans, she announced, pushing past me, dragging a rose gold suitcase the size of a small coffin. You're taking the kids. Flight's at 11. We need to be at the lounge by 9 for the good champagne. I just stood there in yesterday's t-shirt and the same sweatpants I'd worn for 3 night shifts straight, trying to catch up to a conversation that had apparently already happened without me. I work tonight, Mara. I haven't slept in 31 hours. She dropped the diaper bag on my floor. It landed with a wet slap. Something inside leaked through the bottom and started spreading across the hardwood I'd refinished myself last spring. Elias, Mom said, stepping inside without being invited, voice dipped in that syrupy disappointment she's perfected since I was 9, we're doing this for the children. One day, when you've earned the kind of life where you can take vacations, you'll understand. Earned. That word hit me like a slap I'd been waiting for my whole life. I looked past them to the suitcase tag swinging from Mara's manicured fingers, first class upgrade confirmed. And I felt it, the quiet snap inside my chest. Not loud. Not angry. Just, final. I bent down, picked up the diaper bag by one strap, and set it gently back into Mara's arms. No, I said. The word tasted foreign. Like a language I'd forgotten I was allowed to speak. Mara blinked. Once. Twice. Like I'd started speaking in tongues. Excuse me. I said no. Mom's eyes narrowed. Elias James Kane, do not start with the drama. We don't have time. No, I repeated, slower this time, tasting every letter. I'm not watching them. I'm not paying for your mimosas. I'm not doing it anymore. Mara laughed, but it cracked in the middle. You're seriously going to do this now? After everything? Everything, I echoed. The word hung in the air like smoke. And that's when the dam finally broke. Let me take you back, way back, so you understand how deep the roots of this moment go. I was 14 the first time I became the man of the house. Dad left on a Tuesday. Didn't pack a bag. Just walked out in the same boots he wore to the steel mill, got in his truck, and never came back. No note. No goodbye. Just an empty side of the closet and a stack of bills on the kitchen counter that looked like a mountain to a kid who still had to stand on a chair to reach the top shelf. Mom worked doubles at the hospital. Mara was 8 and already beautiful in that dangerous, reckless way that makes people want to save her or ruin her, sometimes both. So I learned how to forge Mom's signature on permission slips. I learned how to stretch 1 pound of ground beef into 4 meals. I learned that if you smile at the cashier just right, sometimes they'll ring up the expensive cereal as the generic one. I learned that love, in our house, was a currency. And I was the only one printing it. By 16 I was working nights at the grocery store after school. By 18 I was sleeping in my car between community college classes and warehouse shifts because rent was due and Mara needed senior pictures that looked rich. Every milestone of my life got quietly moved to the back burner so someone else could have heat. 21, I turned down a full ride to state because Mara got pregnant with Luna and needed a place to live. 24, I worked doubles for 6 months straight to cover the deposit on the house Mom swore she'd help pay for. She never did. 28, I took the night supervisor job, the one that pays an extra $3 an hour but destroys your circadian rhythm, because Mara's second baby daddy disappeared and the formula that didn't make Atlas scream was $42 a can. 30, I gave up the promotion to days because someone had to be free to pick the kids up when daycare called with a fever. And every single time I hesitated, even for a second, Mom would lay her hand on my arm, look at me with those tired, watery eyes, and say, "You're the man of the house now, Elias. This is what men do." So I did it. I paid for the weddings that never happened. The cars that got repossessed anyway. The emergency tattoos and the one-time Vegas trips and the rent when the child support inevitably fell through. I paid for the family vacation none of them ever thought to invite me on. 6 months ago, Mara came to me crying, real tears this time, saying she was drowning. That the kids had never seen the ocean. That she was scared she was turning into mom. That she needed 1 week, just one, to remember who she was before diapers and despair. I booked it that same night. Non-refundable. Best resort I could find. Oceanfront suite with a kitchenette so the kids could have pancakes whenever they wanted. First-class tickets because Mara said flying coach with 3 kids under 7 was cruel and unusual punishment. $11,842.63. I told myself it was an investment in their happiness. That seeing the kids' faces when they touched sand for the first time would make every overtime shift worth it. I even packed a bag for myself. A cheap duffel I kept hidden in the closet like a dirty secret. Because some stupid part of me still believed that this time, maybe this time, they'd say, "There's room for you too, Eli." They never did. The morning of the flight, I woke up to a text from Mara at 4:47 a.m. "Don't forget to pick up the kids at 7. And can you grab more of those goldfish crackers? The orange ones make Juno car sick." No please. No thank you. Just an order, like I was Uber for toddlers. I sat on the edge of my bed and stared at that message until the screen went dark. Then I did something I'd never done before. I left her on read. When they showed up 3 hours later, I was already showered, dressed, coffee in hand. I looked like a man who had somewhere to be. Mara stormed in first, kids trailing like ducklings high on sugar and chaos. Luna launched herself at my legs screaming about how she couldn't find her mermaid Barbie. Atlas immediately started climbing my bookshelf like it was a jungle gym. Juno stood in the doorway clutching a stuffed giraffe and staring at me with those huge brown eyes that still, God help me, made my chest hurt. Mom followed last, already dressed for the airport in white linen and that perfume that costs more per ounce than my rent. "You're a lifesaver, Eli," Mara said, dumping purses and backpacks and a cooler full of snacks I definitely didn't pack. "We'll send pictures." I set my coffee down very carefully. "I'm not taking them." 3 heads turned at once. Mara laughed first, sharp, disbelieving. "You're joking." "I'm not." Mom stepped forward, voice low and dangerous. "Elias. We are boarding in 3 hours. Do not do this." "I'm not doing anything," I said. For the first time in 20 years, I'm not doing anything. Atlas chose that moment to yank a book off the shelf. It hit the floor with a thud that felt symbolic. Mara's face went red. "After everything I've been through." "Everything you've been through?" My voice cracked like ice on a puddle. "You mean the everything I paid for? The everything I fixed? The everything I gave up so you could keep making the same mistakes on a prettier background?" Luna started crying. Juno buried her face in her giraffe. Atlas looked between us like he was watching a tennis match he didn't understand. Mom tried next. The soft approach. The one that always worked. "Sweetheart," she said, reaching for my arm, "I know you're tired. We all are. But family. Don't." I stepped back. "Don't you dare say family to me. Not when I've been the only one acting like it for 15 years. Mara's eyes filled with tears, real ones this time. The kind that used to make me fold like origami. "You're really going to make us miss our flight?" "No," I said. "You're going to make yourselves miss it. Because I'm done being the reason you get to have everything while I get nothing." Silence. Thick. Suffocating. Then Mara did something I'll never forget. She looked at the kids, at her kids, and her face crumpled. Not angry. Not entitled. Just small. "You win," she whispered. "We'll figure it out." She started gathering bags with shaking hands. Mom stood frozen, mouth opening and closing like a fish drowning in air. I should have felt triumph. I didn't. I felt hollow. They were almost to the door when Luna turned back. "Uncle Eli," she asked, voice tiny. "Are you coming to the beach too?" My throat closed. "No, baby," I managed. "Not this time." She nodded like that made perfect sense to a 7-year-old brain, then followed her mother out. The door shut. And for the first time in my entire life, my apartment was completely, perfectly quiet. I don't know how long I stood there. Long enough for the coffee to go cold. Long enough for the leak from the diaper bag to spread into a perfect circle on my floor, like a crime scene outline of everything I used to be. Then I opened my laptop. The reservation was still open. My login. My card. My name on every line. I started small. Removed my credit card from the hotel. Replaced it with a prepaid Visa I loaded with exactly $300. Cancelled the lounge passes. Cancelled the cabana rental. Cancelled the kids club premium package that cost more than my first car. Every refund hit my account with a soft, satisfying ping. Then I went to the flight manifest. I could have cancelled the whole thing. I thought about it. Instead, I did something colder. I upgraded one ticket. One single, solitary first-class seat. Departure, tomorrow morning. Return, open-ended. Name on the ticket, Elias James Kane. I stared at the confirmation for a long time. Then I booked a room. Same resort. Different tower. Oceanfront. King bed. No kids club needed. I paid with the refunds. The total came to $2,847. I had never, in my entire life, spent that much money on myself. It felt obscene. It felt like breathing. They blew up my phone for the next 6 hours. "Mara, what did you do to the reservation?" "Mom, this is unforgivable." "Mara, the kids are crying." "Mom, you're breaking your mother's heart." "Mara, I can't believe you would do this to your own nieces and nephew." I muted the thread. Went to work. Stocked shelves under fluorescent lights that no longer felt like punishment. Helped a teenager fix his flat tire in the parking lot because his mom never taught him how. Smiled at customers who smiled back without knowing they were talking to a man who had just declared war on his own blood. At 2:13 a.m., between unloading a truck full of patio furniture no one needs in November, I got a single text from an unknown number. It was a photo. Luna, Atlas, and Juno asleep on airport chairs, blankets made from sweatshirts, Luna's mermaid Barbie tucked under one arm. Underneath, Mara had written, "They keep asking when Uncle Eli is coming." I stared at that photo until the screen went black. Then I forwarded it to my email. Printed it at the store. Taped it to my bathroom mirror. A reminder. They landed eventually. Had to pay for their own shuttle. Replaced it with a prepaid Visa I loaded with exactly $300. Cancelled the lounge passes. Cancelled the cabana rental. Cancelled the kids club premium package that cost more than my first car. Every refund hit my account with a soft, satisfying ping. Then I went to the flight manifest. I could have cancelled the whole thing. I thought about it. Instead, I did something colder. I upgraded one ticket. One single, solitary first-class seat. Departure, tomorrow morning. Return, open-ended. Name on the ticket, Elias James Kane. I stared at the confirmation for a long time. Then I booked a room. Same resort. Different tower. Oceanfront. King bed. No kids club needed. I paid with the refunds. The total came to $2,847. I had never, in my entire life, spent that much money on myself. It felt obscene. It felt like breathing. They blew up my phone for the next 6 hours. "Mara, what did you do to the reservation?" "Mom, this is unforgivable." "Mara, the kids are crying." "Mom, you're breaking your mother's heart." "Mara, I can't believe you would do this to your own nieces and nephew." I muted the thread. Went to work. Stocked shelves under fluorescent lights that no longer felt like punishment. Helped a teenager fix his flat tire in the parking lot because his mom never taught him how. Smiled at customers who smiled back without knowing they were talking to a man who had just declared war on his own blood. At 2:13 a.m., between unloading a truck full of patio furniture no one needs in November, I got a single text from an unknown number. It was a photo. Luna, Atlas, and Juno asleep on airport chairs, blankets made from sweatshirts, Luna's mermaid Barbie tucked under one arm. Underneath, Mara had written, "They keep asking when Uncle Eli is coming." I stared at that photo until the screen went black. Then I forwarded it to my email. Printed it at the store. Taped it to my bathroom mirror. A reminder. They landed eventually. Had to pay for their own shuttle. Had to downgrade to a standard room when the prepaid card maxed out. Mara posted photos anyway, carefully cropped to hide the construction view and the single rollaway bed. Caption, "Sometimes the universe tests you." We passed. I didn't like it. Didn't comment. Just watched from 2,400 miles away as the man they'd forgotten existed booked a surf lesson for the first time in his life. I flew out the next morning. Sat in first class with noise-canceling headphones and a mimosa I didn't have to pay for with my soul. Landed to sunshine so bright it hurt. Checked into my room, quiet, clean, mine. Walked to the beach alone. Stood in the sand and cried like a fucking baby because no one was there to take a picture of it. Because no one needed anything from me. Because for the first time in 35 years, the only heartbeat I had to worry about was my own. I stayed 10 days. Learned how to sleep past 6 a.m. Learned that pancakes taste better when you're not making them for someone who will never say thank you. Learned that the ocean doesn't care how much money you have or how many people you've saved. It just keeps coming back, wave after wave, like forgiveness you never asked for. On the last day, I sat on my balcony and opened my phone. There were 412 unread messages. I didn't read them. Instead, I opened a new note. Typed a single sentence. I am not your emergency fund. I am not your scapegoat. I am not your, when you've earned it. I am a person. And I am finally choosing me. I sent it to the family group chat. Then I removed myself from it. Blocked every number that ever made me feel small. Boarded my flight home with a tan and a heartbeat that no longer skipped when my phone buzzed. 3 months later, a letter came in the mail. No return address. Inside, a single check for $500. And a post-it note in Mara's handwriting. This month's payment. We're trying. I stared at it for a long time. Then I deposited it. Bought groceries that